WMDT 47 News, live at 11.
Residents of one Salisbury apartment complex hope to expose a problem that they say the management company isn't properly handling. Plus, while new reports show the rate of homelessness improving across the country, are we seeing the same trend locally? We reach out to local shelters to find out. And despite a recent delay, Dewey Beach officials insist that extra security measures are on the way. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm David Caldwell. Emily has the night off. More news in less time starts now. We begin in Dover, where police are searching for a high-risk sex offender from Wisconsin that may be in the area. Joel R. Lowry was on parole in Wisconsin and reportedly cut his ankle bracelet, stole a car, and left the state. The car was found last Wednesday in the parking lot of A.C. Moore in Dover. He's 30 years old, 5 feet 11, and police say they aren't sure why he would be in the area. He may be on foot or using public transportation. Anyone who's seen him should call 911 immediately. Sunday's house fire in Princess Anne has been ruled accidental. The fire broke out around 12:35 in the afternoon on the 3200 block of West Post Office Road. Damages are estimated at $45,000. Fortunately, no injuries were reported. Residents in one Salisbury apartment complex say mold has infested their homes, causing what they say is a whole host of problems. After months of back and forth with management, one man wants to expose what he sees as a major problem. WMDT's Jared Hill reports.
Pulling back a piece of wallpaper near an air vent, Dean Hemmel shows WMDT mold growing on the wall beneath, a problem he first discovered back in August.
I had moved a chair in my bedroom and saw that the vent cover on the air vent was black with mold, solid black with mold.
And he's apparently not the only one.
The mold and water issue for the past 2 years.
Kathy Petzold lives in the next building over. She showed us mold samples pulled from her air conditioner, the insulation beneath her bathroom floor, and
This is from the vent in the wall in the bedroom.
after contacting management, Dean says Merrifield Apartments quickly came to try and fix the problem.
The maintenance man sprayed it with bleach and with X14, I believe, wiped it all out and replaced the vent covers.
And WMDT spoke to the maintenance at Merrifield. He also says they use a bleach-based solution to wipe the area. But according to a mold removal expert we contacted, that's not enough to fix the issue.
Most cases, a substance like drywall or insulation, a highly porous substance, is going to need to be removed.
After Dean withheld rent for 2 months, Merrifield Apartments and Elon Property Management took him to court, but documents show the case was voluntarily dismissed, after which Elon offered Dean $1,200 to move out, under the condition that he, quote, acknowledges that there will be no more conversations with current residents at Merrifield Apartments after the move out, which he did not sign.
They're trying to keep the problem quiet.
This was Dean's last day at the apartment, and according to a note on the window from the city of Salisbury, it's the last time anyone will be allowed to rent the unit until the mold is removed. Jared Hill, WMDT 47 News.
WMDT has left messages with Merrifield Apartments and Elon Property Management and is awaiting a response.
WMDT 47 News first forecast.
Well, a chilly start to the day today. We dropped down to 23 degrees earlier this morning. The last time we were that cool, about 296 days ago on February 2nd, earlier this year. Well, the good news is that we're not going to see temperatures that cool for a little while longer, but it's still chilly out there. 33 degrees, looking at some light clouds out there, and we're not the only cool spot across the peninsula. We have heard from a few of our weather watchers. I'll get to those temperatures in a little bit, but one of them lets us know that there's some winter weather just off towards the west. Now, the good news is the snow that they saw through the Appalachian Mountains not going to be affecting us here on the peninsula, but rain is another story. We expect to see that start to move into the area by about mid-morning tomorrow. That'll continue through the afternoon, through your Wednesday. Lots of rain on the way and some breezy conditions as well, plus some ups and downs with our temperatures. The full explanation of that coming up in just a few more minutes. David?
All right, thank you, Travis. And the winter weather can be cause for concern, especially for the homeless. The U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development is reporting a 7% reduction among those experiencing long-term or chronic homelessness across the country. But in Wicomico County, that may not be the case. WMDT's Kelly Rule reports.
More than 8,000 people across Maryland are homeless, and since 2010, that's a decrease by more than 2,000. But on the Eastern Shore,
I can tell you Tri-County wise, we are not. We've seen an increase. It's a lot.
A lot, meaning more than 350 people.
It amazes me the number of people coming through here. It's just, it just seems like there's new faces.
One major reason for those new faces at Halo, a ministry that provides 3 meals every day for the homeless, a $5 billion cut from the country's food stamps program.
That causes families that depend on that amount of income, they end up coming here.
Cold weather is another concern, especially for homeless men who are not accepted into church shelters until January.
Between now and January, there's going to be some very cold nights, and it's very hard.
While both Joseph House and Halo Ministry say they're incredibly grateful for their volunteers, they still need help with monetary donations and goods.
Especially things like razors, toothpaste, toothbrushes, deodorant, shampoo.
Because a lot of times people just don't think about it. But our staple items, the flour, the sugar, milk is huge.
Kelly Rule, WMDT 47 News.
For all of the information on how you can donate to both the Joseph House and Halo Ministry, just head over to Kelly's story on our website, WMDT.com. And another organization that works with the homeless in Wicomico County also needs your help. The Village of Hope is a nonprofit facility that provides a transitional living program to residents who are economically disadvantaged across the Lower Shore. Many of them are, in fact, homeless. The Village has only 15 apartments that are generally always full, and currently they have a waiting list of about 50 people.
The point of our program is they stay here for 2 years, and the goal is that when they leave, or we like to say graduate, so they can get a job, support themselves, support their kids.
Now, in order to continue their program, which also includes psychological counseling and tutoring for children, they are in need of monetary donations. For details on how you can help, just head over to 47 web links. And while we're on the topic of lending a helping hand, the Salisbury Fire Department is donating more than $3,000 to a local nonprofit that supports women through the fight against breast cancer. Members of the department presented the check to Women Supporting Women at tonight's City Council meeting. Proceeds were raised through the sale of pink t-shirts and various fundraising events, and the amount tripled what the department was able to raise last year.
We set a benchmark every year. The second year we set a benchmark of 2,000. We beat that. This year we set the benchmark at 2,500, and we definitely beat it again. So next year, the sky's the limit.
This is the fire department's third year helping Women Supporting Women, which reportedly goes to all local patients battling breast cancer. They say the plan is to continue the fundraiser every year. And for more on this, plus any of today's local headlines, you know where to go, WMDT.com. A town commissioner in Dewey Beach is resigning after less than 2 months in office. In a letter to the other commissioners, Ellen Danaher says she needs to take immediate steps to take better care of her health. Mayor Diane Hansen tells WMDT that there is no deadline to fill the seat and that council will most likely not make a decision until next year. At this time, they do not have any prospects as to who will take over. And despite a delay, Dewey Beach officials say they still plan to install 8 security cameras. Commissioner Gary Mahler tells WMDT the cameras should be installed well before next summer. Now, originally, officials were hoping to have them in place by the end of last summer. The $96,000 program will include 5 cameras on light poles along Coastal Highway, 1 on top of the new Hyatt Hotel, and 2 cameras near the Lions Club. And now to the stories making headlines across our nation this evening. In Ohio, 4 adults have been charged with lying or failing to report possible child abuse in connection with the rape of a 16-year-old girl by 2 high school football players. Charges against the school superintendent, a principal, a strength coach, and a volunteer coach were announced today. The grand jury had investigated whether adults knew of the rape allegation but failed to report it, as is required by state law.
While this started out being about the kids, it is also just as much about the parents, about the grown-ups, about the adults. How do you hold kids accountable if you don't hold the adults accountable?
The superintendent faces the most serious charges, including obstructing justice. The others are accused of interfering with the investigation or failing to report possible abuse of a minor. Almost 1 year ago, 26 lives taken after a violent shooting rampage at an elementary school in Newtown, Connecticut. Today, a new report sheds some light on the attack. Shannon Travis has more.
Investigators say 20-year-old Adam Lanza acted alone when he entered the Sandy Hook Elementary School and opened fire. But for victims' families, it appears many questions remain unanswered. The report says Lanza shot his way into the locked school, killing the principal and school psychologist before entering classrooms 8 and 10, where he continued shooting. In fewer than 11 minutes, the report reads 20 first-grade pupils and 6 adults had lost their lives. The first police officer reported to the scene less than 4 minutes after the first 911 call. Lanza killed himself 1 minute after that officer arrived. He'd killed his mother earlier that day. What's not in the report, any clues about why Lanza chose Sandy Hook. This morning, the family of Victoria Soto, one of Lanza's victims, released a statement saying in part, "While others search for the answer as to why this happened, we search for the how. How can we live without Vicky? How do we celebrate Christmas without Vicky? There's nothing in the report that will answer those for us."
The report also revealed Lanza had several mental health issues, but the state's attorney's office did not say whether or not that had any role in the shooting. Still to come tonight, Delaware residents can breathe a sigh of relief when it comes to switching over their health insurance policies, and why women should worry about the controversial morning after pill. Those details are straight ahead in your Family Health Report.
Find these stories and more at WMDT.com.